So welcome everyone, it's good to see you. Now, as many of you already know, we are currently going through all the stages of the practice, stage by stage, step by step, covering all the important tools at the moment as well that support your practice, allow you to go deeper. So far we have covered the three preparations, what you do before you actually start with the training, with the practice. It is the posture, which should be upright and relaxed, the breath, which should be comfortable and deep, and the attitude, which is kind and compassionate, is your practice. Then we go to the first stage of the practice, which is all about allowing the body to rest, letting go of tension in the body, becoming relaxed in your body. Most of us are full of tension in the body. There's a whole lot of stress that manifests in the body, keeping our shoulders up, our jaws, the tongue, the eyelids between your eyes, the eyebrows, the neck, the lower back, the belly, the chest, the heart. There's a whole lot of tension all over the body. And here you learn to locate that, to see it clearly, and then respond to it differently. Respond to it by relaxing through it, learning about it, seeing what helps you to relax. It's really an act of listening and responding appropriately. Then we come to the second stage. As you become more and more comfortable in the body, necessarily you will feel less and less need to go into the future or the past with your mind. The more comfortable you are here and now, the less you feel you need to think about what's next or what happened before. One of the reasons why the mind is distracted by thinking about the future or the past is because it doesn't feel at ease here and now. It's not happy here and now. If you feel happy, if you are relaxed here and now, if you're doing well, you find yourself also in daily life, you find yourself forgetting what's next or what happened before. You just enjoy this moment. You might have a nice massage or a good conversation, reading a book, whatever it is that you consider to be pleasant. When you're doing that, you forget about everything else in your life. You're just here and now. That's why people go rock climbing or race car driving or whatever it is that we do. Puts us into a state of risk. Therefore, it demands your full attention to be here in the present moment. That, first of all, makes you pleasant, but also pleasure itself is something that pulls you into the here and now. That's why we always start with the first stage, where you learn to become comfortable in your body. And that takes a lot of time. To learn how to maneuver your body, how to drive internally, how to relax, how to let go of tension. That's an art in itself. And like all these profound arts, there is a whole lot of potential for going deep. It's not just a superficial, just be here, just be present. It goes very, very deep. Every one of those steps goes extremely deep. It's almost as if there is no bottom to relaxation. How deep can you relax? How do you notice when you're still tense? What tells you that you're still tense? How refined can you become? So here in presence, the refinement is away from thinking about the future or the past. So you're basically just aware of what's going on right now. If you take that deeper, the deeper your awareness comes into the present moment, the more acutely you're aware of all the tiny, fine movements that are going on, the less does the mind feel a need to talk. So you might have already noticed that the mind is talking a lot. It produces a lot of words and sentences. Why does it do that? Well, we can say because it doesn't pay attention. It talks because it is not listening. Whenever we are talking, we're not listening. And so it's the same with the mind. If you're not paying attention to this moment fully, of course you're busy talking about other things. talking to ourselves. It's not necessarily a sign of sanity. Walking around in life and just constantly talking to ourselves. If you would do that loud, I always say that, if there would be a pair of speakers hooked up to your head and everyone could hear what you're talking to yourself about, would you be comfortable in a large crowd? And everyone would know what you're thinking. Or if you would talk every single thought that you have. My teacher gave me this exercise one time when I was sick, and he brought food to my room. And then he said, he saw that I had an iPod. Was an iPod, was one of the first iPod models, and I had this kind of microphone on it, because we were all using those to record the teachings. And he saw this microphone. He said, "Oh, I saw you got one of those. Why don't you do this little experiment? Sit down for 10 minutes and speak aloud every single thought that comes into your head during those 10 minutes. And just record that for 10 minutes long. And then listen back to it. Just to get a little bit of an understanding of how you are like. How your mind is like. What kind of content is in there? What's coming up? Is it necessary? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Is it aggressive? Is it controlling? You can learn a whole lot about yourself if you're listening to what's going on. And the deeper you're listening, the less talking there is, of course. When you're listening with your entire being, the mind becomes very silent. So it's called silent present moment awareness, the third stage. When that deepens, at some point, there is not much left in your experience. Then you can go to the breath. Now, you can say that the mind is now ready to actually dance with the breath. And being with the breath is also very simple. So here we are we're simplifying the mind, keeping it with just one thing, just the breath. As you breathe in, you know that you're breathing in. Breathing out, you know that you're breathing out. Now this is the heart of meditation practice. To let the mind come into a state of utter stillness, where it doesn't move anymore. Would be a good thing to ask yourselves, why? Why would I do that? Why would I still the mind? What's the point? One, it makes you really, really happy. A happiness that comes from still mind is unlike any happiness that you've ever had in your life so far. It is by far superior to any type of joy or pleasure or whatever it is that you've ever experienced in your life. What was the highest level of pleasure that you have ever experienced? It's probably just some standard kind of sensual thing. Good food, good sex, whatever it is, Can you experience pleasure that is higher than that? Most of us, we don't know anything else. It's like you're growing up eating nothing but street food. And every day you go and have street food, whatever kind of various types of street food. And one day, some of your good friends, who's very rich, takes you into a 3-star Michelin restaurant and presents you the same kind of street food, just in, like, cooked with excellence. And so now you have a comparison. You can now say, wow, this was absolutely amazing, brought tears to my eyes. I never thought that experiencing food in such a way is even possible. So now you've expanded your mind. Your mind has grown. You now know that there is better food than the one you've had so far. The same is true for the mind. A still mind is food. The mind feeds off stillness. It is a nutrition. And the Buddha calls that a harmless nutrition because it doesn't depend on anyone else. It is happiness that comes from yourself. So you don't need to go around and beg other people and the world to be a certain way so you can be happy. But you can make yourself happy. In other words, you become independent. You're free. Not only that, but you can also free the world around you from your demands and your needs, etc. So you become quite satisfied. So the possibility of experiencing happiness goes very, very deep. It is unlike anything you would imagine right now. You can't imagine it. Okay? You would have to taste it. And tasting it requires you to do the work to get there. And doing the work to get there, you have to use tools to help you to get there. So far we have discussed 4 tools: kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. Now the 5th tool today is evaluation, using the tool of evaluation. Very often it is not used. For many meditators don't use that tool of evaluation. They just sit down and try some technique and hope that it works. I use 3 words that are mostly used by meditators: trying, hoping that it works. I sit here and I try. That as such is okay. I could be trying. There's nothing wrong with that. But then hoping suggests that I have no idea what I'm trying. So I'm just trying some stuff, hoping that it works. And then it works. Doesn't that show that it's not about you, it's about something else that hopefully works? Almost as if meditation was something that accidentally at some point happens to you. If you just do the right thing, then what is the right thing? You might have done meditation before in your life, and sometimes you had these wonderful sessions, amazing sessions. Wow, it was amazing. I felt so good, blissful. My whole body, every cell was vibrating with bliss and whatnot. Why? What did you do so that this happened? What preceded the bliss? What movements did the mind do to get there? If you can know that, you can replicate it. If you don't know it, it feels almost like an accident. Oh, lucky me, I had a good session. I don't know why. Maybe because it's full moon, maybe because it's Friday, maybe because, I don't know. Maybe because I was sitting with my teacher. Maybe. Most people have no idea what is it that gives rise to well-being, happiness and ease and relaxation. And we also have simultaneously no idea what gives rise to the opposite, to misery, pain, suffering, because we don't pay attention, we don't really look. And we don't have the sort of attention very often that is required to see deeply into how things work, because the mind is not still. The more still the mind becomes, though, the clearer you can see how it works. The clearer you can see cause and result. For example, you might see that every time when I notice the breath energy in the center of my chest, breathing in and out, moving a certain way, I start to feel really comfortable with that. And you can repeat that session after session. It always, or almost always, works. So you can make use of that. You have learned a new skill. You've learned a skill that helps you to relax a bit deeper. And it's all about those skills. You know, what we're learning here is not about philosophy. It's about skills. The skills to relax. So many people nowadays, they make these awesome posts about awareness. We are all one. Everything is awareness. All that. Can you back it up? Can you back these amazing statements up with your skill? Let's say, for example, you say, everything is awareness. We're all one. Can you prove that you have the skill that backs that kind of talk up? If you say everything is awareness, well, then your body is awareness too, right? Follows, you could perfectly sit still for an hour or two without moving a muscle and you would have no suffering whatsoever, because everything is awareness. Talk is cheap. Spiritual insight, true insight, comes with skill. And it only comes with skills if we evaluate properly, if we actually look into what we're doing. What am I doing right now? And where does my doing lead me? You can also ask yourself the very good question, who am I becoming right now? Is what I'm doing with my mind right now, where is that leading me? What's my direction? Say you sit down and you do your meditation practice and you're aggressively trying to concentrate on the breath. And by the minute you're getting more uptight and frustrated, okay, because you're constantly getting distracted again and again, and you try to bring your attention back again and distracted again. What are you doing? What's the result of your action? So obviously you're getting more uptight by the minute. That's the result. Why? Is it because the meditation, quote unquote, doesn't work? Or is it because you are doing something to yourself which makes you suffer? Can you see that? That's where it's at. If you can see these things, and we start by seeing those things on a very superficial level. For example, the way you are thinking, does it make you happy? Does it lead to kindness? Does it lead to understanding? Or does it lead to worry? Does it lead to unpleasantness, to uptightness, to anger, to despair? We all have habitual ways of thinking, right? We all think in certain ways. What does that do to you? Could you think in better ways? And how would you know that you're thinking in better ways? Well, by the result, right? You start to relax and you start to feeling at ease with yourself a bit more. Maybe with people around you. So it's all about really evaluation here in that context. It's all about seeing what you're doing in this very moment and what the outcome of your action is. That having that skill means everything in meditation practice. Well, meditation is not something that you just do and hope to get some results at some point, whatever kind of results, I don't really know. I just hope they'll be good somehow. But to be absolutely clear, to see what you're doing, it is how does it make you feel right now? And how does it change your actions in daily life? Like the next time something unpleasant happens to you, how do you react? You might be sitting on your carpet, on your mat in your room, and it's nice. Then you go outside, and you encounter a long traffic jam, and it's hot. And even the aircon in the car is on, it just doesn't make any difference, it just dries your eyes out. And you have nothing to drink, you can't open the window because it's so hot. And there you sit, and then your battery of your phone dies. You have no way to distract yourself. And you have to kind of stay awake too. There you are in the traffic jam. So are you relaxed? Are you at ease? And if not, then why not? What are you doing in that moment mentally that puts you out of ease, that puts you into stress? You could really say that suffering is nothing that happens to you, it is something that you do. The same is true for meditation. Meditation is nothing that happens to you, it's something that you do. It's a refinement of doing, a gradual doing better and better and better. And how can you optimize your doing? Well, only if you rest in the being, only if you are present. If you're not present, there goes your chance. So both is equally important, presence and doing. It's not that presence is higher than doing, and doing somehow is bad. Just quote-unquote spiritual gymnastics or something. No. Doing is equally as important as being. Both are important. And it is the balance, finding that balance in the spiritual teaching that is important. Otherwise you will spend years trying to be, and it won't really change your life. It won't really turn things around. Or many people who practice meditation or practice like presence or being or something like that, they really try to avoid their responsibility to act properly. They don't like the idea of having to do something. So they gravitate towards being. Well, I like being. In other words, I want to avoid doing. That is incorrect. It's an incomplete spiritual path. Spirituality involves all aspects of your mind and all aspects of your being, not just that one that seems convenient. If we follow the sense of convenience and our preferences, it doesn't get us very far. If you follow truth, it gets you very far. And that requires, of course, honesty. And honesty is really that sense of knowing what you are doing to yourself right now. For example, am I judging right now? How does that make me feel? What does that do to me? What's my direction? Who am I becoming if I follow that road? Am I complaining? So what am I doing right now? Am I complaining? If I'm complaining, then what does that do to me? And if I follow that road, what will I become? Am I thinking about what other people are thinking about me? What does that do to me? And who will I become if I follow that road? We're all cultivating skills. You do it right now. Right now you're cultivating a specific skill. I don't know what kind of skill it is. I can't see into your mind. But you're all in a certain state of mind right now. And by the moment that you're spending time in it, you're getting better being in it. And so some people, they're habitually more angry, for example. Some people are habitually more kind. Some people are habitually more worried or fearsome. Why? Because that's what they habitually rehearse in their mind. We're getting better and better, so eventually we become a master at what we're continuously rehearsing. So the question would be, what is it that you continuously harbor in your mind? And how can you find out whether that is actually benefiting or harming you? Answer is evaluation. Without evaluation, meditation is just a matter of luck. And it shouldn't be that. You want to know what you're doing and why and what the results is. That's really important. So that's also all that comes to mind concerning evaluation today. Now, are there any questions?